What's up guys, Cloud Journey here, and this is going to be a contest entry. This is for the comic book Mustache. He's a newer YouTuber, really great guy, really great videos. You got to check him out. He's really creative with how he does his editing and different things like that, and he's really bringing a freshness to sort of the review side of comic books and things. He reads a lot of modern stuff, gives his take, sits on the toilet sometimes, reads and drinks his coffee, that kind of thing. But he has sort of different segments that he does, and he brings it out regularly and is really thoughtful and has some really interesting things to say and thoughts on comics in general. And he's clearly just passionate about comics. And he's a little crude and stuff, which I find pretty funny. I definitely suggest you check him out. For his contest, he had just a few questions. He preferred video entry, so I'm going to do that. And the prize is pretty awesome. One, you get to take over his channel for a week, so you tell him the books you want him to review, the topics you want him to talk about, that type thing. And also, he will create a comic for you. So I'd really like to win this contest. It's a really cool idea and absolutely free on his side, which it works out really well. Let's just jump into it here. So the first question was, what makes comic books such an exciting and different medium for you, like better than movies or music or whatever? Why comics? Why are you so passionate about that? So first of all, I love how throughout history comics sort of have been around. They've reflected culture, reflected what's going on in the world around the writers, and whether it's conscious or unconscious, it always shows up. And it's a really interesting sort of gauge on specifically American history, but how thinking has changed in a lot of different topics, from race to sex to power to war to violence to all these different social issues. They often end up in these comics in some way or another, and you can see change throughout history and change of thinking and bringing new characters to reflect that and things. I love seeing all that side of things. Also, the storytelling, I just love reading stories. I always have, and I love with comics, for one thing, you can do anything you want with them. You can create amazing, crazy worlds on a zero budget, basically, and just all from the artists and the writers' minds, putting it on paper. So when you're a kid and you read these books and you see these things, you always want to see what that looks like. Movies, no matter how good they are, just you can always sense that that's not real. And even when they do it really well, it's so rare that comes along. So I think comics just do it the best in terms of great storytelling, bringing like incredible worlds to life. Yeah, so there's just no holds bars. Like, it really comes down to the limits of the imagination of the creators, which is really neat. You can do so much with it. You can go anywhere you want. But I really love books like Saga, like some of the newer ones like Manifest Destiny, Black Science, these type books that really push the boundaries and they just take you to these incredible places. It's really amazing to see people's imagination sort of come alive and come onto the page, and it's a real treat to read. And then when you tell great stories in there, that's really what blows me away, is when you have a great story in these incredible, fantastic worlds that also sort of maybe teach you something about yourself or reflect the real world. What else? I got lots of points here about why I love comics. Sorry. What else? Just there's lots of variety in comics, which I'm sort of ADD myself, so it's great for me because I can read a 20-page comic, something in like the Swamp Thing world about gods and the avatar of the green, and then you jump to Batman, which is a different thing in itself. It's the detective, it's the human trying to deal with his own personal trauma. Then you might jump to like Rocket Girl. It's really light, it's science fiction, it's time travel, it's fun, it's completely different. There's a whole variety, and you can jump from one thing to the next, and like I said, it's only limited to the imagination. So all these incredible people in the world have these amazing imaginations. They're creating these worlds, these stories, and you can just go from one thing to the next. I love the shared universe idea of like Marvel and DC, how you have all these characters who are very strong in themselves, and they get thrown together and they interact and they have relationships themselves. But you get to hear each of their stories as well as them coming together. So, second question. That's just the tip of the iceberg, man. I'm sure there's lots. Obviously, the art, the storytelling as well. Seeing artists do completely different things, all these different styles that work in their own way. Just, oh, there's so much. Sorry, number two. So I wasn't exactly clear on this question. I think what he wants to know is like, what am I looking forward to most in the future of comics? Like as things are going down, what's exciting me for the future? What I've really been liking is this new sort of system that's coming into be where it's becoming really common, where you have professional writers, guys who work for Marvel, DC, things like that, who then go on and do their own creator-owned stuff. Because I think what's really happening that's great is you have, again, these really talented people with these big imaginations, big stories they want to tell. But the professional side of them being working for Marvel, DC, it really helps them hone their skills as writers and artists, and helps them get to know a lot of the technical side of things like deadlines, how to get the book done, make connections with different writers and artists, build bonds and teams that way. And then when they have that, they can go off and make their own book, something totally unique, totally their own, this story that they really want to tell, that they're going to be passionate about. Because what I find with a lot of Image titles and other indie books is you get sort of up and coming writers who just, they have a great idea, but their skills aren't honed enough to tell a really great story. It can happen, but a lot of time there's a lot of these books that start out with a great premise, but just the writing doesn't take you in the right direction, or isn't as well edited or whatever. So I think that system of having professional writers who have creator-owned properties is really exciting. I've really enjoyed East of West. I've already mentioned Black Science. Like, these are all by big Marvel DC guys. It's sort of a symbiotic relationship to get into Spider-Man in terms. Artists and writers are able to like try different things with Image Comics in their own creator-own work. You get a chance to see the general public accept new, different ideas, and then that in turn can reflect in Marvel, because then Marvel sees, okay, well, this is working over there in Image. This book sold really well. We can bring something like that over into Marvel and do something over here. So it sort of allows the creativity to grow, and for the universes to change and mature a bit. And because I'm like in the 90s and places like that, they got stuck in what they were. And I think this is a really exciting time for unique, innovative ideas and things like that. I think that's just going to continue to grow. So loving that. And then number 3, he wanted us to create a character. So, and this, if he picks my book, I don't know if he's going to just pick one or if he's going to like draw from a hat or whatever, but if he picks it, he's going to create this comic. So that's pretty neat. So I'd love to see it. I have no idea how good he is as an artist or whatever, but so the character I came up with is pretty basic. I didn't give him a name, I just realized. Basically, it's in the future. My stories are often in the future. Maybe post-apocalyptic-y type, maybe like a Judge Dredd where there's still some semblance of society. Things are sort of dirty and not that nice. And there's a guy who's a lot like Indiana Jones, who he collects relics from the past, so from our era. I think our era is sort of going to be seen to them as the golden age. It's everything was going really well before everything sort of exploded in our faces and society sort of fell apart, and we lost a lot of who we are and who we were, and we're sort of a lot smaller as a society now. We live in one big city or whatever. There's these collectors out there who want relics from the past, from this golden age. So maybe it's an original Super Nintendo, or maybe it's like, I don't know, a comic book or something from the past, or some famous issue that is maybe something somewhat common to us now, but they're collecting that, and there's great value in these things. So he's sort of the cocky, quick on his feet type guy. He thinks quickly. He maybe has some gadgets and different things like that that sort of helps him navigate this sort of wasteland that he has to go hunt into. Runs into different like tribals and different people who live in the wastes, and maybe different like rival treasure hunters or something like that, similar guys who want to steal his stuff. And he's sort of just like a treasure hunter for hire. He maybe has a passion of his own. He has his own treasures that he specifically wants for himself. Maybe things that don't have real value to the rest of the world, but have value to him. But he just, to pay the bills, he's got to do the dirty work, and he works for maybe some scumbags, different types, guys like that, nefarious types. But they pay him, they keep him going, so he has to sort of play detective and do the treasure hunting in this old world. So the character himself, let's call him Domino Lewisburg. That's going to be his name, Treasure Hunter. So that's going to be it, guys. So the comic book Mustache, check him out. Really awesome video, as I said. Great job. Congratulations on 100 subs. I know you're going to be way farther than that. Keep making the videos. Keep doing it consistently. Great job editing. Oh, and I'm going to ECC this weekend. That's Emerald City Comic Con, so super stoked. Again, if you guys are going to be there, let me know, because I'd love to hang out with you, grab beer after the show, whatever. And never forget, mustaches speak louder than words.